Welcome to My Watches with Ben. Today's video, as you've seen in the thumbnail, is about gold dial dive watches. Yeah, there's not very many of these. This is a spin-off of the 18-hour dive watch overview I did. And just looking at colors, today's color is gold. Yeah, I'll just show you what I think are the best gold dial dive watches. Yeah, I'm doing these color ones while I'm working on the third of the pilot watch videos. That's going to take a couple months to get all the data and do all that. They take a long time. This does not take a long time. It's kind of fun. If you just want to see the top 10 gold dial dive watches, please skip ahead. There's a timestamp in the description. Yeah, let's look at some slides here. Okay, so here's how the colors shook out from that dive watch overview. Obviously black, blue, green are dominant. Only 33 golds. That's what we're going to look at today. I'm going to show you 33. These numbers change as I look into them a little deeper. Like pink, I know there's at least 10 more of these, so that 24 will go up. But this is based on what I covered in the 18-hour video series. Okay, so gold dive watches. What shades am I going to show you today? What is in the 33? Well, champagne and true gold, those are gold. For sure. Those are gold dials, like this gold dial I've got on. You're going to look at it and see gold. Even the champagne, I think, is going to come across as a gold watch. The other ones, not so much. So I have happy faces next to champagne and true gold. Bronze has an apathetic face here because it's going to turn a little bit brown if it truly is a bronze dial and everything. I don't think it's what you're looking for if you want gold. Rose gold, similar thing. And then these ones on the outskirts, the metallic yellow, the ecru wheat, and the copper, these have frowny faces. I think if you're going for gold, these may disappoint you. I just put them in the video because I don't know where else to put them. I think it's, maybe somebody's willing to settle for copper. I don't know. Doesn't hurt to throw them in here. None of these with the frowny face are in the top 10 at the end. Oh, I don't know if I explained this on the purple one. Yeah, there's a scoring system that rates these on a 100-point scale. I'm not really necessarily using that score very much to determine the top 10. It's a minor factor. There'll be rounds at the end of this where I try to quantify like how good they look and that sort of thing. You'll see. Yeah, let's go through 33 watches. All right, the first one is this Formex Reef, $2,000. This is one of those copper dial ones. It's more of a copper. Really cool watch, great dimensions and everything. It's just not really gold. So as I mentioned, it's not gonna be in the top 10 because of that, but yeah, really cool looking watch. Second is the Oceaniva Deep Marine Explorer 2. Another copper dial. Great lume on this thing. Very expensive though, $1,200. That kind of surprised me for Oceaniva. It seems pretty serious though. You've got your helium escape valve. It's titanium. Very deep water depth rating at 1,250 meters. Third is the H2O Orca Bronze. Almost $1,000. It's in euros, so whatever the exchange rate is. You can customize all this stuff. I put some fun hands on it. This dial though, the bronze dial here, I would have liked to see a little bit of outline for these indexes. It's kind of disappearing. But yeah, this is probably the best bezel. The only lume shot I could find was for a similar bezel, but this bezel actually, the entire thing is loomed. Fantastic lume on this. Very thick though, absurdly thick, but it's 2,000 meters water resistance. Pretty serious dive watch here. Fourth is the Deep Blue Pro Sea Diver. Very inexpensive, $280. You do get a helium escape valve, 1,000 meters depth rating. These are pretty serious and also not expensive. But yeah, is it a gold? It's really not. It's a metallic yellow. Sort of like gold, but not quite. There are some really good gold ones. You'll see. I hope I'm not losing people. Maybe I should have started with some real gold ones. They're coming real quick, I promise. Fifth is the Seiko Zimbe SPB 194. Let me zoom in. Here we are. This is a champagne dial, but you can see it perfectly matches the gold on the outside. So champagne is kind of a type of a gold. Beautiful pattern here. Some of the pictures for this look kind of yellow. This one looks really good. But yeah, the Seiko Zimbe was a Thailand exclusive, but it's the age of the internet. You can buy the watch no matter where you live. I don't know if that really matters. But it's like a Sumo, sort of. I don't understand what differentiates the Zimbe from the Sumo, but I've seen this described as a Zimbe. Solid specs, it's the ISO rating with the apostrophe here in the divers. You're getting anti-magnetism. Capable dive watch, and it looks really cool. And good lume on Seiko watches. All right, sixth is the Ratio Freediver Professional. Looking exactly like the Deep Blue, like exactly. Except this one doesn't have a helium escape valve. I don't know why they're identical. Even the handset, the indexes, everything. It's really kind of sus. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on there. Different thicknesses to the case though, so it's not identical. Yeah, the deep blue is a 45 millimeter, this is a 42. So they're different, but why do they look so darn similar? Either way, it's metallic yellow, so it's not going to be at the end, but capable dive watch, only 155 bucks. Seventh is the H2O Kalmar 2 bronze. The dial is kind of a copper, so yeah, this is not going to be in the end, but really cool option. You can customize absolutely everything. 3,000 meters water resistance. These Kalmars are really intense. Yeah, it's a really cool watch brand. If you got about $1,000, I would definitely look into H2O. They have a lot of really cool stuff. Unique design. Seventh is the Sacred Crafts Grande Mare with your glass bracelet. Oh man, it does look really cool. Ninth is the Henry Archer Nordzo. I don't know if that O is pronounced differently. It's got a slash through it. It's blowing my mind. Like I said with the other one, it's a little too whimsical for me with the turquoise mixed with the wheat color. The E-Crew. I think they call it E-Crew. I don't know what E-Crew is. I guess this is E-Crew. In 10th place, the first actual gold dial dive watch. I'm so sorry about that. I think most of the rest of them are gold or champagne. Luminox Leatherback Sea Turtle. Yes. That is a gold dial dive watch. They only give you 6 little markings with these tritium. I think that's pretty lame, but it is cool to have tritium. It's probably okay. It's only $375, so I don't feel too bad about it. But you only have 100 meters and a push-pull crown. So it's not really like a dive watch. It's a dive style watch. Nice and thin though. 12 millimeters is nice. 11th. Oh, here's a beauty. Seiko 62 Moss SLA 066. 3,000 bucks. It's an expensive watch. It looks so darn good. I think it's just PVD. I don't think it's gold plated or anything. Yeah, it's not real gold. ISO rated with the apostrophe here, so you get the anti-magnetism. Yeah, this is a really cool option. Just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous here. I love the etching on the dial. 12th is the Mito Ocean Star 39. Another champagne dial. The hands match and those hands look gold. So yeah, I think this is a gold watch. I mean, it's a champagne dial. That's what they call it. It belongs in the video for sure. Very thin. Only 10.5, and it's a 39 millimeter case. Beautiful wearing proportions. 1,100, so not too crazy, actually. It's not a chronometer or anything, but it does have an extension on the bracelets. So that's nice too. Vostok Europe Energia. Get some tritium on here. Lots of tritium. Huge watch though, 48 millimeters. And the brown, the rose gold and the brown is a little funky. Crazy thick, 17.3 millimeters. 14th is the Rolex Submariner date 16613. It's called the Sultan. They make this also with a black bezel, but you're still going to get the blue jewels. I think the blue bezel goes better with the blue jewels in 12, 6, and 9. And these are actual diamonds on the dial as well. Very cool, and it's only 12,000 bucks. But yeah, this is an old model, you can tell. It's an older model. It gets the low contrast penalty. These hands definitely disappear into the dial. It's not all ideal. But if you want that gold look, I think it actually looks better. It's just less utility on the watch itself. That might be why gold dials are not used that much, because they look really cool with gold hands, but then your hands are disappearing. I mean, Submariner has beautiful wearing proportions. It's a chronometer. These older ones, though, don't have the glide lock clasp, so that's going to be disappointing. Maybe you can get a Rolex glide lock clasp aftermarket or something. I don't know if you can change that out. I'm not in the know on that. Oh, and you're not going to get any dial loom, so you just have loomed hands and bezel pip. So that's also disappointing. Cool option, though. Definitely cool. 15th is the Tudor Black Bay S&G. I actually don't know what that stands for. It's a chronometer. Really cool gold dial. I think they call this champagne, too. It's not champagne. That's a gold dial. Let's not kid ourselves. Well, it's not actual gold, so maybe that's why they called it champagne. It comes with this ugly NATO strap. I don't understand that. I would swap it out to anything else, really. This is not flattering the watch, in my opinion. Serviceable loom, not anything to write home about from this loom shot that I'm seeing here. Really cool looking watch, though. Low contrast penalty again, because the gold on the gold. It's not the best. 16th is the Tag Heuer S94 4130. $84. These are old, these are used. But yeah, you can get a Tag Heuer. It's literally plated with gold, actual gold. And it's 84 bucks. This one, you can see the strap is all wrecked. So, I mean, that's what you're getting. And it's some kind of weird proprietary strap. Yeah, I don't know what you do about that. That's probably why it's so darn cheap. You have to get some kind of custom strap for this thing. Great wearing proportions, 38 millimeters case, and 10.5 thick. It's a quartz watch. If you get one of these, the battery might be dead when you buy it. Yeah, I think it's a viable option. I mean, the strap issue is actually a major issue, but there you go. There's the Tag Heuer. That's one of your options with gold dial. 17th is the Aragon DM Tie Meteorite. So you've got your meteorite dial here. It's looking like straw or something. Not necessarily gold, but it's not yellow either. It's a titanium case, 50 millimeters, very big. If you really want a big watch, go to Aragon. They make some huge watches, high quality. This one's kind of expensive, but a lot of theirs are like, you know, 150, 200 bucks. Good prices. 18th is the Islander Pogue ISL 149. I don't know if they call it the Pogue. I bet they do. Looking really cool. Obviously, it's like the Seiko one. There's definitely differences. Different case. Nice Jubilee bracelet that comes on this. Only $235. And look at the full lume. It's fantastic. This is a great option. The sapphire bezel cover looks really cool. Yeah, it's a compelling choice for your gold dial dive watch. A little bit thick though, 14 millimeters thick. 19th is the Carillon Turtle, 198 bucks. There's a lot of variations of this. This one says presage on it, means it's a prophetic dial. Has nothing to do with presage. Tudor handset. It's got like a boat steering wheel thing on it. That's kind of funny. Turtle case shape. It's a cool one. There's like no dial lume, just the lumed hands. There's no way I could find a lume shot for this, obviously. It actually looks really darn cool. 20th is the Adina Amphibian. This is clearly an homage of the Tag Heuer, but it's like 5 times the price. You can get those tags for like $100. This is a new one. It's a quartz, but it's $530. I think it's like 700 Australian dollars, Aussie dollars. I don't get why it's so expensive. Like I said, clearly homaging the Tag Heuer. 21st is the Venezianico Nerede Aureo. It looks so darn cool. Look at it. It's a work of art. This is absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of orangey. It's not really gold. More orangey. I mean, I'm calling it a true gold. I think it's closer to that than anything else. It's not a copper. It's not looking coppery at all. It is looking sort of like gold. It's just a little too orangey, but I think it looks great. It's not going to match the color of yellow gold. Compelling option, 200 meters water resistance. It's cool how they managed to do this triangle where there's still a full triangle of lume inside it. That looks really good. The bezel insert looks really cool. Not the strongest specs-wise. You know, for me, it's getting a score of a D+, specs-wise. Not top of the class there, but looks-wise, definitely top of the class. 22nd is the Invicta Pro Diver 35846. Is the best scoring of the Invictas because it's got high contrast here, but still not really passing the class. I don't recommend Invicta watches. They're just really poor quality, very thick, horrible clasp. The bracelet just feels gross, but if you're just going for a gold watch, look at Invicta. They have so many SKUs, just so many gold dive watches. Unbelievable quantity, and they're not going to be expensive either. 23rd is a Seiko 5 SRPH 19 Beatmaker. I don't know why it's called the Beatmaker. It's like a Pogue thing. This came out a few years ago. $825. You know, when they were new a few years ago, they were like $250. So if you still want to get a new one, you're really going to pay for it. It's going to be pricey. And it's more of a dive style watch. I mean, Seiko makes like professional dive watches. This is not it. It's not a professional dive watch. And that's reflected in the score here. I won't go through all the details, but yeah, it's not the top performer. You're going to get no lume on the bezel, for example, stuff like that. It looks cool. I kind of prefer the looks of that Islander Pogue, though. I would probably go with the Islander over this. But if you're a Seiko fanboy, this is an option. 24th is the Invicta Pro Diver 25786. It's a gold watch. 25th is the Seiko SRPE 74. This is the best looking one, just from a straight up, it's a dive watch, it's gold. This is the most gold of all the gold watches in the video. So if you just want pure gold dive watch, I would go with this. It's a little bit light on the dive watch though. Like the Beatmaker, it's a dive style watch. It's like a Seiko 5 street style or sport style, whatever style. But yeah, no lume on the bezel. The lume on the dial is going to be quality though. You can tell from this lume shot. Reasonable proportions, actually a little bit large, 43. Huh. Some of these ended up being rounded. It might be 42.5. But yeah, you get your mineral crystal, those sorts of Seiko things that people aren't thrilled about. 26th is the Orient King Diver. I have a couple other colors of this. I think the green one was in the video. Weird lume pattern here. It's just in this tiny little inside. That's all you get. Little tiny little dots. So it's going to fade very quickly. No second lume. It's a weird one. Weekly Auto Orient. There you go. 27th is the Bernhard Binnacle Diver. It's a champagne, but it's a very pale champagne. I like the high contrast here with the hands and indexes, but no lume. That's a downside to it. Just a lume pip, that's all you get. Next is the Invicta Pro Diver 91010B. It's a champagne dial with a nice relief bezel like a Yachtmaster. I really like those. I like this one better than the weird Seiko one that we saw a couple of watches ago. This is classy. This actually looks really cool. Low contrast. And being an Invicta, it's really horrible quality. 29th is the Onus Submersion. Like the Invicta, poor quality. Very similar to the Invicta. I would think of them similarly. Kind of large, 45 millimeters. 30th is the Giavius Deep Marine. $3,250. Wow, you're gonna be saving up for this monster. It's 45 millimeter, but look at these crazy lugs that are attached to the side. Never seen anything like it. The crown is ridiculous. It's gonna hurt your hand horribly. Really thick crystal, 21 millimeters thick. This is a hardcore watch. It's totally crazy. Very cool. 31st is the Piotr Chirazaz Renegade. Similar to that last one, just a crazy watch. 46 millimeters, 21 thick. Humongous watch. 32nd is the Timex X Seconde Loser. Instead of Timex, it says My X. Oh, it still says Timex down here. It's not really a dive watch. It's 50 meter push-pull crown. You know, dual time bezel. It's a gold watch, sort of in the dive watch style. And last is the Miicon dive watch. Only 27 bucks. That's the cheapest one you're gonna see. The bezel doesn't turn. 30 meters water resistance. It's not really a dive watch. Dive style. I don't recommend you buy this thing. No lume. So those were the scores for the 33 watches. Now I'm going to take the 21 I liked the most, or thought had the best chance to win, and do some runoff rounds. I'm going to do 6 rounds with subjective factors. Some of these are subjective, some are not. Looks, that's subjective. 25 points. Lume, 15 additional points. I forgot to mention, shrink the score down 60%. And then add these points on top. You might think, oh my goodness, well now we're gonna get way over 100. No, because none of these watches excel in all the different areas. But yeah, there's a lot more points we're adding on top. Lume, size, the size, yeah, I'll cover all these. Brand strength, affordability, and then there's color bonus. All right, round 1 is looks. It's quite simply which ones I thought looked the best for your gold watch needs. And Seiko 62 Moss is at the top. The Venezianico is second. The Sultan third. Invictas are kind of at the bottom. They're not looking too great, in my opinion. The Pogue is kind of above average. Seiko 5's looking really good up here. Round 2 is Lume. I just took the Lume shots and rated them. The Orca, the one I had in the video, it has dots all the way around, so couldn't find a Lume shot, but you can imagine. The Lume does look stronger than this Islander Pogue. Ocean Eve is really strong. A lot of these didn't even have lume shots, so those are at the bottom for sure. Because I can't assume. And then I just tried to rate them based on their patterns. Size, this is pretty simple. If it's thinner than 12 millimeters, you get a bonus. If it's thicker, you start to get penalties the thicker it goes. Diameter, you get penalized for deviating outside of 38 to 42 millimeters. Round 4. And each one of these, you know, I just didn't think you needed to see every in and out, what changes every round. If you want to see that, let me know. Round 4, brand strength, 10 points. It's just based on the watch chart's popularity. So Rolex is high. This was a surprise to me. Invicta is actually ahead of a lot of these other ones, including Formex. Did not expect that. It's just watch charts popularity. So this isn't subjective. It's using an external source that can measure the popularity of these different brands. Rolex is obviously top. Seiko very high on this too. Affordability. It's just based on the price of these runoff watches. So lowest price is Invicta, highest is Rolex. That's all it is. Just take the rank divided by 21 and multiply it by -10. So this one is 21 divided by 21 equals 1 times -10. The Rolex gets a -10 for affordability. All right, and this is an extra round. I didn't do this with the purple, but I gave a bigger bonus for true gold, which I'm saying all these are true gold. Only 4 points for champagne dial. And then bronze, only 2 points. Copper, only 1. If there were any metallic yellows or whatever, those would get a 0. But there weren't any in the runoff round. This is all we had. All right, so now I'm going to tell you the top 10. In 10th place is the Seiko 5 SRPH19 Beatmaker. Like I said in the video, it's very expensive because it's kind of an older model, so to get one new, you're going to be paying for it. Kind of just dive style, but it's part of the conversation for gold dial dive watches, that's for sure. In 9th place is the Luminox Leatherback Sea Turtle. Nice gold dial on it, which is really what you want. If you're looking for a gold dial watch, the dial needs to be nice. This is looking really nice. You're going to like the tritium, I think. It's a little disappointing they don't have all of them. Can be nice and light. In 8th place is the Rolex Submariner Date 16613 Sultan with the blue bezel. The black bezel is cool too. Yeah, you get actual gold on this. It's gold plated. Actually, I think these middle links are totally gold. It's only 12,000 bucks for a used Rolex. Maybe not in this great condition. Yeah, if you really want a gold dial watch, I think this is a good choice if you can afford it. Got a huge affordability penalty, -10. It's the most expensive one in the bunch. In 7th place is the Seiko SRPE 74. Doesn't have very strong specs as a dive watch, but it's got the gold thing down totally. You just really want a gold watch and you want to be able to do an elapsed time, I think this is a good choice. It's certainly gold. In 6th place is the Islander Pogue ISL 149. This is the one you should get rather than the Seiko. Seiko's in 10th place. Just get this one. The lume is so good. You don't get a date though. If a date is really important to you, well, too bad on this one. But yeah, I hear great things about this too. It's not a total copy of Seiko. You know, it's a little different here with the crown and the case shape and everything. Actually, the index is too. It's just kind of the same colors as the Seiko. That's the main thing it has in common. And of course the bezel with the red up to the 20 thing. In 5th place is the Mito Ocean Star 39. 1,100 bucks. Only 10.5 thick. That's the thinnest one in this top 10. Very thin. Lume actually looks totally decent on this thing, which surprised me. It's not like the best lume of all time, but it's decent. High brand strength for Mito, so that's good. It's a champagne dial, not a gold dial. Still in the conversation though, for a gold dial watch. Yeah, I think this is a good option. In 4th place, the Venezianico Nerede Areo. Very cool look. The bezel is fantastic. These guys make really cool bezels. Bracelet looks nice too. Lume is okay, could be better. My goodness, let me zoom in. Look at the second lume. That tiny sliver. It's like smaller than a grain of rice. That's gonna fade so quickly. Yeah, look at that little lume. Man, that is minimalist. Looks a little bit more sophisticated, but yeah, it's gonna fade instantly. In 3rd place is the Tudor Black Bay S&G. Nice gold dial. It's really thick though. I really don't understand why Tudors are so thick. It's kind of strange. I guess that's just something about the Tudor brand, is their watches are thick. Looking really classy though. Second most expensive though. It's very pricey. It's getting -10 penalty for affordability. Good choice. 2nd place is the Seiko Zinbei SPB 194. It's a Thailand exclusive, but oh man, it looks so cool. It's got the plastic on the bracelet. I'm sorry about that. The official product shots don't look great. They're kind of yellowy. They just didn't take a good picture of it. I had to hunt a little bit to find a picture that was decent. And unfortunately, you know, to see this nice dial, you get the plastic on the bracelet. Got good lume, you've got the good looks, and you've got the capable dive watch. A little bit bigger though, 44. For a dive watch, that's totally acceptable, but I understand people want the dive watch to be like an everyday watch, and 44 millimeters is large. But yeah, this is a great option. And number one, you know what it's going to be probably. Number one gold dial dive watch is the Seiko 62 Mas SLA 066. $2,900, very expensive. But if you've got the money, I think this is the best gold dial watch on the market. Good size, 41.3 millimeters, and only 13.1 thick. Great dimensions. It looks fantastic. It's a champagne dial, but it matches the case exactly. So all of this is cohesive. You wouldn't call it a champagne case, you'd call it a gold case. So it works. Really high brand strength with Seiko. You get the ISO rating here, anti-magnetism, totally suitable lume. Yeah, it's a great option. All right, so that was the top 10. And like I do with all these videos, after I've covered the watches, I like to talk about the Bible. So that's what I'm going to do now. All right, welcome to Bible time. For the disclaimer, I'm not a pastor or biblical scholar. I'm just somebody who likes to share the Bible with other people. I'm going through the 10 Commandments, and today we've reached commandment number 7. Thou shalt not commit adultery. All right, well, let's start off with the definition. What is adultery? Adultery is simply when a person who is married has sex with somebody who's not in the marriage. Consensual sex. That's adultery. I've also mentioned I'm going through Alistair Begg's book, Pathway to Freedom, about the 10 Commandments. And he makes a point that sexual sin, as with every other sin, is a sin against God. Yes, it's also a sin against your spouse, but it's a sin against God. All right, let's turn to Matthew 5, verses 27 and 28. This is Jesus in his Sermon on the Mount. He said, "You have heard it said to those of old, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart." I'll just keep going. "If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell." So adultery in the heart is a huge issue to Jesus. Similar to that last commandment, thou shalt not murder. When you hate your brother, it's like murder in your heart. When you lust after people, it's like adultery in your heart. Okay, and this is a famous one, Job 31. He says, "I have made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I look upon a young woman?" Yeah, I've made a covenant with mine eyes. There's actually software called Covenant Eyes, and it has to do with keeping you from pornography. You can get it, and you find a trusted friend, and it will just take screenshots, and it will monitor what you're looking at. It'll send it to somebody else, a brother in Christ that can keep you accountable. And here's Psalm 119, verse 9. "Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. With my whole heart have I sought thee. O let me not wander from thy commandments. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee." It certainly helps to hide Lord's word in your heart. But okay, going back to adultery. Yeah, Begg makes a point in the book, and I've heard others make this point as well, that what can start as an innocent friendship with someone of the opposite sex can over time become not innocent anymore and really threaten the marriage. Yeah, there's a lot of divorce in our world. I mean, divorce rates are out of control. And I have to think that a lot of it has to do with adultery. There's a lot of adultery happening in our modern time and throughout history. I mean, it's not unique to now, but it's something we definitely need to be on guard against. There's a couple ways you can try to avoid the occasion of sin, to prevent it from ever even happening. And one of them is just don't have intimate personal relationships with members of the opposite sex outside of your marriage. Another way is to make sure that your marriage is healthy. Spend enough time with your spouse. Give your spouse what they are owed in the marriage. Serve them and honor them. Yeah, the Bible's very clear about that too in Ephesians. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Yeah, let's turn there. Ephesians. "Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church, and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth it and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and the two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. Okay, so yeah, there's a small amount of that was devoted to what the wife should do, and a ton of it that was devoted to the man. If you have both of those parts working, the marriage will be healthy. And yeah, I've not lived up to this. I've not loved my wife as much as myself. I pray that God would give me that strength, and I pray that he would put that love into the hearts of every husband. Okay, so I established that adultery is having consensual sex with someone not in the marriage. Yeah, Begg makes the argument that adultery is also the pornography usage, that is a form of adultery, but he says it's not quite on the same level, and I have to agree with him. Okay, let me just read what he says here. Without lessening the impact of Jesus' teaching, we need to recognize that there are substantial differences between daydreaming lust and sexual intercourse / adultery. Adultery breaks the marriage covenant. Adulterous thoughts do not. Adultery provides the grounds for divorce. Mental adultery does not. Adultery violates and defiles each other's bodies. Its mental counterpart does not. Adultery is the vehicle for sexually transmitted diseases. The mind is not. One of the major issues, though, with the mental lust is that it evolves. It goes on. It can. If you're experiencing issues with this, please seek out another person to counsel you. Yeah, in my first marriage, my wife was unfaithful to me, and I told her I would forgive her and take her back if she would stop doing it. She told me, she was honest, she said she was never going to stop doing it, and I believed her, and so that was the end of that marriage. I couldn't be in that marriage, because literally she was not going to be true to me. I only share that because I think it might be useful to somebody. I feel like God wants me to share that. I know firsthand the destructive power of adultery. I know that pain firsthand, what that feels like. I don't think there's any way to unring the bell. I mean, I was ready to forgive her and take her back, but I don't think the marriage ever would have been the same after that. Yeah, it really does destroy marriages. Absolutely. So don't flirt around with that. Don't play with that. Yeah, I think the Bible is clear that we should try to avoid the occasion of sin entirely. You know, the Mike Pence rule is a wise thing to do. Don't be going to dinners with some lady that's not your wife, with nobody else around. Yeah, it's a good rule to have, I think. That's all I've got on the seventh commandment. So I'll close with a prayer. Lord, I thank you for this time to think about your commandments. I know that your law is good, that you put it in place to protect us. You give us so many good things in our lives, and we have the power to destroy it very easily through our sin. And I know your commandments are there to help us avoid all that destruction. And Lord, I pray that you would strengthen the marriages of everyone listening to this. I pray that you would help husbands to love their wives as Christ loved the church. Pray that you would help the wives to submit to their husbands. Pray that you would help every believer's marriage to flourish. I pray for all this divorce to stop. I know the children are the ones that get punished the worst for all this, for the sins of the parents are visited upon the children. Divorce is probably the clearest example of that. And Lord, I just pray that we could stem the tide of divorce and adultery. I just pray you would strengthen believers in their marriages. I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Now may the Lord of peace himself give you peace always and in every way. The Lord be with you all. See you next time. I have decided